There is a long list of the types of cheese you can eat, including the top 5: cheddar, mozzarella, American, pepper jack, and provolone. And every type of cheese falls under a different category.
The different categories of cheese, fresh cheeses, so your mozzarella, your burrata, your ricotta, paneer, mascarpone, all those things that don't have a rind. They're made within 24, 48 hours and you want to eat them really quickly. And then wrinkly rinds, those are cheeses that are aged just a few weeks, typically goat's milk, and they have this rind that kind of looks like a little brain. We now say wrinkly because brain is not so appetizing. And those are great appetizer cheeses. Bloomy rind is something that everybody's familiar with. Maybe not the word bloomy, but brie and camembert fall into that category. So that kind of white fluffy mold on the exterior. Those are really popular. They're creamy, easy to like. Again, aged just a few weeks. And then you get into kind of, washed rind cheeses. So those are ones that are typically stinky. The cheesemaker has washed the rind literally with a brine solution or sometimes an alcohol to keep the surface tacky, and it attracts ambient bacteria that usually turn it kind of a terracotta red, pinky color and invite this kind of very aromatic microbiology to the rind.
Traditional cheese is typically produced using more of a standard process. So you curdle milk and get cheese curds, which is what cheese is made from, and then as a byproduct you have whey, which we often see in products like muscle milk used as a protein supplement. Processed cheeses are much more, there's maybe a flavoring added, there's some sort of further processing, or they didn't start with just bulk traditional, what we call, like plain milk to begin with. If we look at the science of how you make cheese, we actually need that fat because that's what curdles. So it will become that chunk that you see that becomes the curd that becomes cheese. So when we lower the fat that's in milk, we actually reduce the amount of curd that we can get, and we actually have a harder time getting a solid curd that you can make cheese out of.
Most people living in the United States consume cow's milk products. However, the consumption of goat's milk is on the rise.
So there are a couple of differences when we look at goat's milk and cheese milk, and a lot of that comes from the animals themselves. So cows are not as efficient of taking carotene, which is a precursor to vitamin A that we find in grass, and turning it into vitamin A in their bodies. So when you look at cheese on the counter, cheeses that are more yellow are often cow's milk because they have carotene in them. Goats are much more efficient at taking carotene and turning it into vitamin A. So their cheeses are traditionally whiter.
Cow's milk contains more fat than goat's milk and must be homogenized to prevent fat separation. The Cheese School is a unique institution that offers a variety of classes to help expand the knowledge of cheese.
What makes the Cheese School unique is really the breadth of classes that we offer. It's everything from the microbiology of cheese rinds to cremes and bubbles. We offer professional training, so if you're a chef, if you're starting out a cheese shop, if you are just somebody who has a day job as a fancy lawyer and just wants to learn more about cheese in your pastime, we have classes aimed at that person as well. Introducing customers to new cheeses is really, that's kind of the joy of the job, because people come in and they don't, in the Bay Area people actually know quite a bit about wine, and cheese is a lesser known thing. People come, and luckily people come into the cheese school because they're already excited about cheese. You don't walk into a cheese school and hate cheese. So it's really on us to find, the key is really finding the right cheese for the person. There's a cheese out there for everyone, and our job as cheesemongers is to get the right cheese into that person's mouth as fast as possible so that they have a great experience.
We're actually here in Point Reyes is where some of the dairy industry started here in the United States. So dairy in Point Reyes was started in order to provide dairy products during the gold rush, and those dairies are largely still there today. So we are in a very historical area for dairy, particularly in this state. So a lot of these dairies have been here for over 100 years. These cheesemakers have the ability to open up their farms and show people, that dairy isn't scary, that we're just family farms, we produce healthy products, and they can really put their name on a product that traditionally they were not recognized for the work that they were doing.
As artisan cheeses become more popular, smaller farms are becoming better known, and educational institutions are helping us all learn that it's time to study up on the business of cheese.